Hello, I'm Martin Kelley, the Quaker Ranter, with a new little video conversation series, Quaker Ranter Talk, and it's all about Quaker vision and Quaker outreach. And this is very experimental. I'm here with C Wess Daniels, who's up there. Hi, Wes. How are you?
Hello, everyone.
All right, good. I think they can hear you.
I think you should call it the Quaker Ranter Ranting
The Quaker Ranter Ranting. Okay, well maybe we'll do that.
video.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be big here, everyone, and he's supposed to be small, but somehow it's going around that way. So hi, Wes. Thanks for coming and joining us here in the studio.
Thanks.
Here.
Thanks.
You look
It's a
like
long trip.
a much nicer background here than I do. So this little video series here that I want to do is trying to talk about what it means to be Quaker out there in video land. About a month ago, someone posted on YouTube this video about what liberal Quakerism means. And she said she posted it because there were no videos about that on YouTube. And she was right. There were absolutely like no videos ever anywhere about American, at least, liberal Quakerism. And just a lot of places.
Just surprising.
Yeah, isn't that surprising? It's kind of weird. And there's been one since then and such, but Quakers are not using this new technology here very well.
But there are Quaker. I mean, there are videos of Quaker things on YouTube. It's just not like introductions or something.
Yeah, there's not really there's not easy access introductions, and maybe that's something we can talk about because another great post I saw recently, and I didn't link it up, but it was someone who went through all the Quaker videos out there and critiqued them all. And was really great, actually. I mean, really sort of slammed them all in a very useful way.
Just and like theologically, or like technically, or like technologically, or what were the critiques?
Well, like there was one fellow who said he was a conservative Quaker, and he had on the plain dress, the broad falls, and everything like this. And she was like, "But what are you doing? You're this like Amish kind of guy with like a horse and buggy and a webcam?" "I don't think so. Forget it." So, and like, what does it mean to be conservative? Quakers aren't conservative. And so here was like, we have this language like there are conservative Quakers, evangelical Quakers, liberal Quakers, all this kind of stuff, which means absolutely nothing to 99.9% of the human population.
That's right.
And yet when we're on YouTube, that's what we're going to talk about is all this like Quaker language. So
it's not very helpful. Yeah, I see what you mean.
So it's not always easy to access. And I mean, it's kind of one of the big questions of Quakerism. How much do we sort of dumb down our language to make it accessible, but then what do we lose when we do that? So what are your thoughts? Give me some of your thoughts.
Well, I've been reading about this book by Stephen Duncombe, which is kind of trying to reimagine progressive politics. And he kind of makes the point that instead of like basically like trying to go at the same old strategy of talking heads, progressive ideas, we should give in to this idea that people want to be a part of something that's almost sort of fantasy-like. So he uses examples of like why video games are really popular, not just with kids, but also with like career people. And he's basically talking about how do progressive politicians embrace something sort of almost fantastic in a way to get people excited about what they're doing. So with that said, what if we had intro videos on Quakers, but it wasn't really talking heads? It was more stories, something acted out, put where people see it happening, so we don't have to use the lingo to explain it. They see these characters doing whatever it is that we're talking about, and that seems like that might, in a way, sort of bypass some of the linguistic issues of our own lingo. And it would also maybe inspire a little bit, as opposed to just us talking.
Right. So we should put on a song and dance here. We can do the Numa dance. Also on my YouTube channel now that Theo and I did a Numa dance a few minutes ago. So that's also up on YouTube now, our version of the famous internet phenomenon.
See, there you go.
But yeah, and how do we, like, in 10 minutes sort of impart that Quakerism is something that's worth getting to the meeting houses, the churches for? You know, and I thought about it when I tried to respond to the one person who was giving all the critiques, and talked about how my own experience, I started off kind of typical one type of Quaker, a peace activist who kept running into all these Quakers and thinking, well, there's more here. And I didn't know what that more was, but it's like, well, maybe it's worth going to a meeting and seeing what that is, and then over time kind of realizing what it was. So how do we get it that we're not scaring off the people right away, but we're getting them in, but we're not just letting them think that it's whatever they think it wants to be, or they want it to be.
That's right.
You know, and we get that a lot, especially among the liberal Quakers.
Well, I think that a lot of times we think we know what people want, I mean, at least coming from being in evangelical churches, we say, okay, what do people who are outside of the church like? So we'll do that, and then they'll want to come to us, you know. And so we're already starting from our sort of enclave, our Christian enclave, and assuming what it is that people out there want and want us to be like. But I wonder if that isn't, I mean, I think it's somewhat backwards. It isn't necessarily authentic to who we are or to who they are. And it's also kind of tricky. Like you're trying to trick them to come in or something like that. And I wonder if there's another way to maybe find out what it is that what the questions are that people have, what the things are that people are dealing with and facing, and then seeing if Quakerism really has a response for that, or if maybe there are things that we're sort of deficient in and we can't explain. You know, so as opposed to trying to say, okay, here are the list of 5 things that we like about Quakers, and we're going to try to present them to people so they'll come to us. You know, what if we approached people on the street and we started working through topics and said, you know, what are the main questions that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, and then see if we have a response for that.
So kind of a more practical theology that way, just what I guess is, you know, kind of what Jesus was doing a lot too. It's just going out there and, you know, not coming up with all the highfalutin theologies, but being very practical. And people would tell him stories. Well, what happens if the soldier tells me to take his pack for a mile? What do I do? That was, you know, probably a very practical kind of question.
Exactly.
There at the time.
Well, and you've made a point in the past that we have something unique about Quakers, and that I think people, at least some people, are just attracted to sort of on their own, but then they have a hard time finding that type of Quakerism within their meeting. You know, it's like, hey, Quakerism, this is a really great idea. Where can I find this lived out? And then was like, oh, well, actually, we're kind of struggling with that a little bit. Right. You know, so there's the whole idea of, I don't necessarily want to call it evangelism, but then what are we bringing them to? What is the community that we're inviting them to be a part of? Is that community really the kind of community we want those people to embody or be a part of?
Right.
You know, I mean, I think that's, to me, is a big question. I don't know I don't think we can separate those two things.
So how we describe ourselves outwards, but then also once we've done that, what do we have to show people?
Yeah, exactly.
I think, what do we have? Right, because I mean, there's a lot of people who come in, they've read a book, or, well, right now, the most common way people are coming into Friends, new people, I think, is they're taking the BeliefNet quiz, beliefnet.com, what's your spiritual path, right? They type in. I've met so many people. I mean, this is real.
I completely agree. That's why I'm laughing.
They're typing in, what are you? And they come out, you know, as some type of Quaker. And there's a few different types. There's Orthodox and Liberal and maybe something else too. But they come in and they're like, whoa, this is me. They score 100% like Quaker. So then they're trying to find out what to do and where to find a community. And actually the one video that went up recently, about a month ago, was someone who scored 100% as a liberal Quaker, tried to find the local meeting house, and it was abandoned. At least it looked abandoned, and she couldn't even find it. So we're getting that a lot.
Yeah.
So, well,
Yep.
I think we're actually running out of time here. I'm not really watching the timer. But there we go. First of Quaker Ranter Rant, Quaker Ranter Talk. Wess Daniels here, gatheringlight.com, and quakerranter.org is mine. So thanks, everyone, for joining, and we'll see if this little video series works out. Thanks, Wes.
All right. Thanks, Martin.
Bye-bye.
Bye.